After the Iron Horse bypass, the newly christened town of Denver, it looked like it was a goner for sure. Then a remarkable group of movers and shakers banded together. They decided that if the railroads weren't going to build to Denver, then Denver must build to the railroads. Makes sense. Here to explain how the railroads saved the Mile High City is our very own Dr. Colorado. Hi there.
A pleasure to be with you, Denise.
It's always great to have you on the show. So, Dr. Colorado, after the original gold rush, did Denver boom in the 1860s?
Well, the population in 1860, according to the census, was 4,759. But they said, just wait till 1870, we're going to become the big city of the West. The population in 1870, 10 years later, was 4,769.
Wow.
That's a net gain of 10 people.
Yes. My gosh, I guess it did boom quite a bit, right? There was a great picture there. Why was Denver stagnating then, really, in the 1860s?
A lot of things were going on. The Civil War was going on, Indian Wars.
Yeah.
But the big problem was this train, as you see on the map here, bypassed Denver to go through Wyoming. Half of Denver moved up to Cheyenne, figuring that was going to be the rail hub. That was going to be the regional metropolis of the Rockies.
So a group of people got together and said, by golly, we have to make this right for Denver. And they spearheaded a drive to build a railroad for Denver to build towards them.
Exactly. And they raised money, they got volunteer labor, they had people to cut the ties to build the Denver Pacific Railway Company from Denver up to Cheyenne.
Who spearheaded it?
This was Governor John Evans. Here is his portrait. He was a good friend of Abraham Lincoln's. They were both from Illinois. And Lincoln put him on the Union Pacific Railroad Commission. So he was in a good position to negotiate tracks into Denver.
He should have been smiling in that picture.
Yeah.
How did the Denver Pacific Railroad then actually save the day?
Well, when it gets to town, everything changes. All of a sudden, you get newspapers that are one day old instead of a week old.
Oh, yeah.
You no longer have to travel by stagecoach, which was very expensive, slow, and uncomfortable, and dangerous.
And did the Denver Pacific help actually bring other railroads to town then?
Yeah, it sure did. It's amazing. It arrives in 1870, that same year. Once you've got one rail connection, others want to in. The Kansas Pacific shows up, the Colorado Central shows up, the Denver and Rio Grande starts building out of Denver.
Boy, these photos are just so fascinating to look at, and for you to know all the stats that you do is truly amazing. How did the railroads transform Denver? Did it really become a booming economy here?
Yeah, and that's really the key to it, the railroads. Denver puts up a huge spider web of steel, railroad tracks up to all the mining towns, so Denver becomes a great mining supply center. And ore processing, when they ship the ore back, it's processed here in Denver because the railroads make that possible. And then later on, going out into the farm towns, supplying all these farmers, not just in eastern Colorado, but Kansas, Nebraska, Wyoming.
So I'm sure you don't have numbers, but how big was Denver's rail age boom?
You know, there is the population. Remember, it was only a net gain of 10 in the 1860s
right.
to 4,769. In 1890, it's 106,000. So by 1890,
Okay.
Denver is the second largest city in the West, bigger than any city in Texas, bigger than Los Angeles in 1890, bigger than any city but San Francisco.
What a smart move. That was amazing then. Do you think Denver is experiencing another railway boom with the light rail? Is that possible?
Yeah, it's great fun to see the tracks being laid out to DIA, which is supposed to open, I think, in April of next year, and then also a line out to Arvada in northwest Colorado. And around the state, some little railroads are being born, like the Rio Grande Southern.
Interesting. Denver's a great place to live. We have to make room for everybody. Now, you published your latest book this summer. It's called Denver, a Historical Atlas. Where can we pick it up?
At Tattercover and all good bookstores. A bad bookstore is a store that does not carry.
I love that you say
Colorado.
that. If you're a good bookstore, you carry his books, all right? Dr. Colorado will be presenting his slide talk, Railroading the Rockies, at the Colorado Railroad Museum. It's going to be in Golden at 6:30 p.m. Thursday, November 5th. Now, before his presentation, you can enjoy rails and cocktails starting at 5:30 p.m. Reserve your spot by calling this number. It's 303-279-4591.